All right. So I just spent 2 days in a mastermind with one of the guys behind the Jordan Belfort's team. And what I learned, it completely changed my life and how I see sales, client fulfillment, etc., etc. And this video, I'm gonna break everything down. I'm gonna have a nice cigarette, fucking sit down with you like I would sit down with a friend. And I'm just gonna break everything down, the most important things that I've learned, okay? The event, it had two tracks, okay? This is how I would categorize the event, right? There were a couple of agency owners, like there was like the minimum was like 40K a month. The person that had the least amount of money was like 40K a month. I was literally like the brokest guy there. And the things that we talked about pretty much was sales psychology and client launches, right? Because those are the two most important things in business, right? So when you think about it, like you have sales, so you need to deliver on your clients, and then you have client launch, right? So you need to know how to launch your clients and actually get them results. Whether you're an agency owner, you're running Facebook ads, you're running webinar funnels, you're running email lists for econ companies, it doesn't matter. You always need a launch and you always need a sales system. So I'm going to talk about this, how you can extract this, apply to your own business. Let's get into this. All right. So first of all, what I want to talk about is sales psychology. Let's just put this right here. Cool. So when we were talking about sales psychology, we talked about systems and mindset, right? Like those are the two things. And this is how we categorized it, right? So it was actually 80% mindset and 20% skill, right? Skill, systems, etc., etc. Because your skills and your systems, they're built upon your mindset, right? The mindset is like the foundation, right? You see that guy, he doesn't have the right mindset. He's jumping in behind my YouTube videos, right? But hey, you need to have the right mindset. That's the first thing. Because if you're building your fucking offer, if you're building your sales system on the mindset, on the premise that you don't believe high ticket works and you don't believe that you can charge people 5 6K retainers, like you're not gonna do that and you're not gonna achieve anything, right? So that's gonna be the thing. The next thing is discovery, right? A lot of people know about discovery. They know how important discovery is, but they don't know how powerful it can be for their agency. Because I spoke with a guy. He basically was a sales consultant there. He has his own sales consulting agency. He was making like multiple five figures, I think even six figures. He made like millions in this fucking industry. And he told me one thing, one very important thing. He said discovery makes 90% of the sales call. So, okay, like stop using your scripts. Just have a framework that you go by. Most of it should be just discovery, and then you should have like a very nice pitch with a financial model. And oh boy, like financial models, they're the thing. You need to understand how those work, right? This is what this guy Joel Ambank, who's basically the marketer of Jordan Belfort, he's very heavy behind financial models, right? So if you have an ROI offer, which is I'm assuming that you do have an ROI offer in one way or another, you need, and this is what I do for most of my clients. I give them like this financial model spreadsheet that they can use and present on their sales calls as well. So what you need is you need like a spreadsheet, your KPIs, and a step-by-step framework on how much money are they going to be making from this. What's the worst case scenario, what's the realistic scenario, and what's the best case scenario, and then how much revenue share or how much commissions, or if you don't work on commissions, your retainer, and how much profit they'll be making, right? This is very important. And then we talked about objection handling, another thing. So when somebody is afraid to commit, this is one thing, because I didn't know how to deal with fear, right? When I was on sales calls, like some people, they just didn't trust me, they were afraid. But like a lot of the times, I just build up the trust. I show them our testimonials, I show them our things before the call even happened, and then they were just afraid to make the decision. And this is what happens a lot on a lot of sales calls, because people, they usually like to procrastinate. If they have the option, they're gonna just procrastinate. Like prospects are like these little birds, right? Like they just go to like a nest, pick one stick, go to the other one, pick one stick on another sales call, and they just collect all of this information and they don't do anything about it because they're afraid. Like this is most people. And the way that you deal with these prospects is just by asking them one very simple question. So you're asking them, okay, so from what I've heard, you actually do believe that we can get you to this desired result. Now the next thing is about you believing that you can do your part. So do you think you're the kind of person who can actually do the part, whatever your client has to do? For example, for my clients, they need to close their sales calls once I actually start generating them appointments. So what I would ask now is, if somebody like is giving me a consistent loop of I have to think about it, I'm not going to make a decision today, I would just ask them like, okay, cool, man. So most of the times when people are, procrastinating on their decision and they are 100% sure that I can help them, it's just about them believing that they can actually close the sales call. Like this is what I do, and you can just adapt it to whatever offer you have. And then the next thing that we have is launching clients, right? So let's talk about this. Cool. Let's talk about launching clients. So first of all, we have a system. We need to have a system, right, to launch clients. Because if you just onboard a client, you have like this framework. Every time you launch them, it may take 2 days to get the script in. It may take 3 days. It may take 4 days. You know, you need to have a nice step-by-step framework in Miro or Figma, whatever you're using, to literally get somebody from the point where they get on board, pay you the invoice, sign the contract, to the point where you can start booking the meetings in less than 10 days. It's very important, right? So we talked about, speed, how important that is, and I already understood this concept. Literally in 1 to 5 days, you should already have all of the assets prepared for them. Like if you do landing pages, email lists, tracking sheets, offer, whatever you're doing, this is specifically talking about agency offers, coaching offers, right? Consulting offers. And then by day 10, you should be able to launch them. This is very important because you do need urgency, which comes to the next point. It's urgency. It's not optional. Like urgency needs to be there when you get a client in, right? You need to have this unconcealed urgency to get them these results because they paid for your service. You need to make them the money back, and if you're not making them the money, you're just fucking screwing them over, right? So you need to have a step-by-step framework. You need urgency, and the next step is that like you need no non-negotiables, right? So you should not be your client's bitch. All right, just simple way. Like a lot of people, they compromise to their clients. They're writing this ad creative, and they're just saying, "Yeah, okay, so you want to do this instead? Yeah, sure. I mean," and then they think that they're doing a good deed to their client. They're actually just fucking the client over because they paid you because you're the expert. If they didn't pay you for that reason, I wouldn't even sign them on board. I don't know what the fuck you're doing with your agency, with your coaching business, with your consulting business, because ultimately we're consultants here, right? All of us, like agency owners, we're consultants. It's just in a different way, right? Done for you because they pay you, and you need to have your clear word. So if you think that this idea is gonna work, and they propose another idea that's not so good, you should just say, no, man. I don't want to do this. I'm not comfortable getting your results on that. So we're going to do my way, or we're not going to be able to get your results. Very simple. And if you're comfortable not getting results, that's fine with me, but we cannot work together. We like to work with ambitious businesses. That's the big thing. That's the big thing about launching a client. This couple of things, right? And then I have some big takeaways, right? So the line is that the hardest part to get to is of course 100K, right? Like that's the hardest point to get to. After that, it's just about scaling it up. You have capital that you can execute on, and people, they don't pay. This is another key takeaway. People, they don't pay because you're giving them all of this technical shit. You're just like showing that you're the expert. They pay because they're certain about it, and they can get this certainty from a couple of different places. They can get it from your offer. Okay, so you have a very good guarantee. You have it on paper. You're certain about it. I wouldn't focus that much on the guarantee because you're going to be attracting the wrong kind of people. The second thing is from yourself, right? So if you're very, very confident on your sales call, if you master your tonality in a way where you can just you can just go up, and you can be very, very energized, and then you can just go down, and you just really speak about their emotional state. That's a big thing. So it's about certainty. That's when people are going to be paying you, because think about it. Every time that you made a decision, even if you bought like a product online, if you bought a consulting service, if you bought a coaching service, always when you made a decision, you were certain that it's going to work for you, or at least you were more than 50% certain, right? Like that's all they need. They need to be more than 50% above the action threshold so that they can actually make the decision. I think Alex Ramosi talks about this. So this is very, very important. Very important. I would say this is one of the, because like the mindset thing, so your offer and everything in your business is built on the foundation of your mindset and your limiting beliefs. That's probably the most important one, because if you don't understand this, you're gonna fuck off your business. You're gonna be figuring it out for months. You're not gonna know what the fuck is wrong. Well, literally, you're just building a house on sand. And then the second thing is just making sure that your prospect is certain in your prospect, in your product, and that you can launch people fast with urgency. So you also need to stand on your word, right? Oh, another very important one. So If you want, if you're like an agency owner, coach, consultant, and you got this far in this video, I'm gonna give you a CTA. If you don't want to hear it, you can just go away. I mean, this is not the main way I get clients. It doesn't fucking matter. I just do outbound for people just like you. If you're an agency owner still watching this, I primarily do outbound, down for your offer for agency owners, coaches, consultants, and operators. So if you want to see more, you can book a call with me in the descriptions. We have a pretty cool guarantee. I'm not gonna focus on that much. I just told you you're gonna be attracting the wrong kind of people, so I'm not gonna be telling you about our guarantee. If you're interested in this, you can book a call with me down below. Of course, I have my outbound systems. We're booking like 5 meetings a day with this, and we're just scaling up people in this info space, right? So that's it. I'll see you in the next video.